Meet Marvin, a father of three. One day he goes to the doctor because of abdominal pain. He is told he has stomach cancer. He sadly goes back home where his wife and kids try to comfort him. Instead of staying with them, he goes to his room and locks the door. He believes that his illness is his own burden and that he needs to deal with it alone. Marvin is an example of a monadic body. According to Arthur W. Frank, author of the book The Wounded Storyteller, the monadic body is understanding itself as existentially separate and alone. Mono means one, which illustrates how the patient cuts himself off from others and does not associate himself with his body.
The second main category of bodies is a dyadic body. Meet Dorothy, a mother of one. When going in for a routine mammography, she is diagnosed with breast cancer. The doctor tells her about support groups, and she decides to join one to talk about her illness. She surrounds herself constantly with family and friends to help her deal with her illness, but she still struggles with the physical and mental effects of her treatments. She becomes inspired by her experiences and decides to speak at conferences about cancer and her personal and ongoing experience with it. Dorothy is an example of a dyadic body. Arthur W. Frank describes the dyadic body as a body for other bodies. Dy means two, which demonstrates how the patient does not deal with their illness on their own. Dyadic bodies connect with others, creating a support system rather than isolating themselves. Frank says about the dyadic body that the ill person sees others around her who have gone through the same illness and suffered their own wholly particular pains. When he was sick and heard other people's stories, he says it made him feel less alone. It relieved some of his suffering to know that others were dealing with the same struggles as him.
But if a dyadic body is better, why would someone be monadic? People are monadic because it can be difficult for someone to discuss their illness. They might feel self-conscious or don't want to appear weak. Also, they might not want to burden others with their problems. But does being a dyadic body mean you're more likely to get better? No. Just because Dorothy is dyadic and chooses to be around others, and Marvin is monadic and isolates himself, does not mean that Dorothy is more likely to get better than Marvin. Monadic and dyadic bodies simply describe how you cope with your illness. It doesn't relate to how likely you are to get better.
It is also important to understand that no patient fits into only one category. They can have both monadic and dyadic characteristics. Frank says that these are ideal bodies, so no one is a complete example of one of the types. Understanding the different types of bodies can help doctors better understand their patients and their patients' needs so that they can personalize their treatment. It can also help the patient's family and friends know the best way to support them and help them get through their illness.
To recap, Marvin and Dorothy represent the two types of bodies that Frank describes in his book. Dorothy tends to be surrounded by others, while Marvin isolates himself. Therefore, Marvin is monadic and Dorothy is dyadic.